a person who, had said like, well, why do you always have to talk about race, Kimra? And I said, well, I'll stop talking about racism when it stops being a problem.
Which is probably a similar response when it comes to gun violence in America. Stop talking about it when it stops becoming a problem. Racism obviously has deeper roots in this country than gun violence, and you can point to several moments in our history where it looked like there were breakthroughs. One of the more recent points came in the summer of 2020 after George Floyd was killed by a Minneapolis police officer who knelt on his neck for more than 9 minutes. Well, following protests and a wave of anti-racist learning took place through movies, social media, tough conversations, and reading. It's about the time the Antiracist Book Club was created right here in Boise, founded by a self-described reproductive rights activist, Kimra Luna. The book club is open to anyone wanting to discuss the issue of racism and educate themselves on how to be a better advocate for people of color in our community. They pick a book, and then meet each month online to talk about it.
We like to pick books that are really, relevant to the times, the things that are going on in our communities. People from all walks of life have different types of biases based off of how they're raised, based off of the religion they grew up in, based off of what their parents taught them, and even from what media tells us about groups of people, right?
Okay, so Kimra says in order to move forward and progress as a society, we need to work on our anti-racism initiatives and teach our children to accept others in our community, adding, if you see something, don't stop it, well, then it's complacency.
As a person who is a Mexican person in the state of Idaho and experienced racism myself, particularly as a kid in school, I wish there were more people that would have stood up and said like, hey, like that's not really appropriate to say to somebody, or that's not a nice thing to say. And now, people are starting to realize like, if you're not standing up or saying something, you're being complacent. You're basically saying, hey, like I'm allowing people to be mean to somebody and treat them badly. And we need to ensure that all communities feel safe and accepted into their communities, because the world is only becoming more mixed. The world is only becoming more diverse.
Okay, so they read books about this stuff, sometimes really about it and sometimes just a little bit about it, but they talk about it. And if you want to participate in this anti-racist book club, well, you can check out their meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. All you got to do is go to Luna's website where we have a link to this story at ktvb.com.